Greetings and welcome to another video, and today I'm going to be explaining to you the difference between the longsword and the katana. Now before we begin, I would just like to stress this is not a video where I'm trying to make claims of which is better between the longsword and the katana, because, well, let's be real, no weapon is inherently better than the other. Every weapon exists for a purpose, and each one is good at the purpose it was used for. They are all good weapons, and I'm not claiming that one is better or worse than the other. I'm just going to be explaining why these weapons are the way they are, and then explain what makes them different. Now, I'm going to adjust the camera real quick, and put this down. Now, let's start with the more straightforward one, the longsword. This is it's a European weapon. Specifically the ones I'm familiar with are the German variety, and it is pretty straightforward. Double-edged blade, long blade, handle meant to be gripped with two hands, crossguard. That keeps that's used to keep your hands from being struck. By the opponent's sword. You got your pommel here, which you can hit people with, but it doesn't get discussed nearly as much. There's actually a old thing that people used to claim they did, which was they would unscrew the pommel off the blade and kill their enemy by throwing it at them, which is completely wrong. The technology that allows you to screw it on wouldn't be invented for a very long time after these were after that those claims would have been done. But now this is a excellent weapon for battlefield fighting, specifically in wartime, specifically in battles between large groups or even duels between individual people. You can get the basic strikes, get good defense, and overall it's actually a fairly simple weapon to learn once you get the principles down. And now, why is it the way it is? Simple. Because it works. It's a long blade, because not only does it allow you to put a lot more metal in between you and the guy trying to kill you, but it allows you to have more range to attack and more you can work with. There are even techniques meant to be done in close range with this, which have you gripping the blade in a specific way so you don't cut yourself, so that you can use the upper part of the blade sort of like you would a knife, which is really good against armored opponents, because you can't cut through their armor, but you can go for the weak points of the armor, like this. And of course, because of it being a straight edge, you can use it from many different positions. Like, specifically, the two guards that I'm most familiar with are the plow guard. I actually do a variation that's more like this, but the plow guard and the ox guard, which is actually the favorite of the guy who taught me a lot of this. So, the ox guard and the plow guard. Those are the ones I'm more familiar with. Each one has its own benefits. There are different ways to grip the handle. It's a genuinely good weapon with a lot that goes into it. And while I'm at it, might as well mention this groove that runs down the sword. This is a plastic one, but I keep it in there probably to make it look more like it. This actually has given a lot of misconceptions. Some people say that it's specifically to drain the blood if you stab a guy with it, so that the blood goes in there and drains out better. That is actually completely false. The reason for this is just so that because it allows them to use less steel when creating the weapon. Now, let's talk about the katana. Now, this is well known for its Japanese origins. And, yeah, what make why what are the unique things about the katana? Now, it's well known that katanas are made through folded steel, which is the process of flattening the metal through forging, folding it over on itself, and then hammering it flat again, and then doing that multiple times to get rid of any impurities in the metal. Traditionally, they would do it 10 times, but if I remember correctly, just 2 or 3 times is all that's necessary to do it. Now, the reason why they put so much emphasis on doing that is actually because in Japan they had really poor quality steel, and on top of that they even used an interesting method of heat treating the metal. Heat treating. Yeah, I can't remember the exact term off the top of my head. It's pretty late, but they would quench the blade, making it harder, but they wouldn't quench the back of the blade, making it softer, so that you have a hard edge for cutting, but a soft back for parrying. So that the sword is more resilient and a lot less likely to break. Now, other than that, what are the more unique things about the katana? Well, unlike the longsword, not only is it a shorter blade, but the blade is curved. Now, why is that? Well, I get to go into a bit of a history, a bit of a cultural comparison. And by that, I mean I'm going to cite someone else's cultural comparison. Not too long ago, I listened to this interview. Well, I'm not sure if it counts as an interview, but it was with Jesse Enkamp talking to a well-known Aikido sensei whose name slips my mind at the moment. And he made the comparison of the Three Musketeers and the works of Miyamoto Musashi. Because, well, he asked Jesse if he had read the Three Musketeers, but Jesse said he hadn't, but he had read Musashi. And he said that's a great comparison because it's the same time period, just different parts of the world. And he made the comparison that, in Europe, people would challenge you, and then you're expected to come with your blade and your witness, and you're supposed to fight. Whereas, and if you don't show up, or if you break the rules of engagement with the duel, you're dishonored and all that. Whereas in Japan, well, people fight dirty. Or even just will sneak attack you. And that's why the blades are the way they are. They're designed so that you can attack from the draw. Matter of fact, that's why techniques in traditional jujutsu and aikido are the way they are. They're meant to stop the person from drawing their weapon, and the reason they have such heavy pivots is because if you grab their arm to stop them from drawing their blade like this, they'll just redirect and continue to attack from drawing. So that's why it's curved, but also the other advantages of it being less likely to get stuck in the guy, making it more practical for a battle where you have to deal with multiple people. And you can even make the argument that it's easier to use one on horseback. But let's talk about the handle now. There's a much less prominent guard for the hands. Why is that? Because not only does it make would a larger guard make it more inconvenient to carry on you on a daily basis, but it was less necessary because these are slashing weapons. They're more likely to slash at you. You're more likely to parry it and counter slash. So, there's a lot less need for a larger guard. But that doesn't mean binds don't happen. Which is why there's actually a similar technique between the two. From a bind, there is plenty of cases where the person might might place their hand on the top of their blade, reach over, and slash at your throat with their blade. Of course, from the bind, pretty much anything goes. There are even European texts of people talking about. There's one really funny one about a guy, where a guy explains, why he goes for nut kicks, nut shots, when they're binding the swords. And for people who don't know, binding is when both your swords are connected. For more than just a moment, like you would get if you were parrying a shot, or if you just if your blades clashed. It might start from your blades clashing, but the bind comes, when the blades stay together. So now let's get into the compare and the contrast. Oh wait, final thing. The handle's interesting because while this sword is meant to be a two-handed sword, it is fit. If you're striking from the draw, you wield it. It's a one-handed strike, and of course there are people, who specifically those using the Iten Ryu style, where they use one hand on each sword maybe because they're dual wielding, maybe just because they want to use one sword for the hand so they can do something with the other hand. Either way. Now let's get into the compare and contrast. Now the obvious comparison to make here is the size, because this is meant, specifically for war, duels, all that. Whereas this, they would bring it onto the battlefield, but they would also carry it with them more often. So a smaller blade makes sense. And plus, since it's a slashing weapon primarily, I mean, you can definitely stab with it, but it's primarily a slashing weapon. Because of that, you don't really need a large sword, especially if parrying is a major concern. You can definitely parry with a longer sword. Just look at the odachis, the okatanas, all that. So the size, is mostly for those reasons. As I mentioned, the guards, the size is for the reasons I mentioned. It being less practical on this than it is on this. The handles are actually about the same length. The only real difference is this one has a pommel, but this one doesn't. Because you're not really going to, you wouldn't use the handle to attack with this unless you had to. Of course, there are plenty of styles which mention striking with the hilt of the sword like this, but that's just the bottom of the handle. There is no pommel. And, as I mentioned, both of them are meant to be two-handed weapons, but I mentioned that the katana can be wielded one-handed. Now, I talked about how one is meant to be made so that you can attack from the draw. This one, the only real concern is fighting when your sword is already drawn. Which in that sense, it works perfectly. Now, and of course, if we want to talk about which one's better at stabbing, I'd say this one. But with that being said, these are two completely different weapons. Both of them are meant, for completely different reasons. Were intended for different purposes. And they were used. Admittedly, by similar class of people, you could definitely make the comparison of the samurai and knights being similar classes, for people. You could definitely, but while they are both weapons meant, to be used for war, that are generally meant to be used for war, this one is used in a lot more scenarios, so it's more, versatile, whereas this one is just meant for one case. The battlefield and dueling. There's a reason you don't see. There's a reason you don't see people using, the same weapon in every context. different weapons were meant for different purposes. It's the same. Yeah, it's the same reason why. Yeah, if I was going out, to fight a duel, and had to bring one weapon. Yeah, but specifically not a gun, because I'm not even going to go into the arguments of guns in this. Yeah, if I had to bring just one weapon, I'm less likely to bring a katana than I would a longsword, just because there's more that I can do with it. But if I was living in a case where open carry of weapons, is completely legal, and I had to pick one thing to carry with me, I'm more likely to choose this than I am this. Of course, open carry isn't. Of swords is only legal in some states. I'm not sure if it's legal in mine yet. Although we did just lift the ban on shurikens not too long ago. But that being said, to get back to what point I was making, these are two completely different weapons meant for different purposes. I get that people love to compare these two, and quite frankly, I like the comparison. It's interesting. But, realistically speaking, just comparing two weapons that were meant for completely different reasons, isn't all that, fair. You can make the argument that this one's better for fighting, but this one's better for dealing with, better for dealing, with most scenarios where you would get attacked and are in a situation where one person will have to die. If you get jumped by a guy with a sword out from the corner, you'll be able to deal with the situation faster like this. Oh, and also you can definitely make the argument that this is better in close quarters. But this has better range. This is better for stabbing. But this one, has more maneuverability, and yet allows you to strike at a lot more angles. Comparing them, isn't all that fair. It's like comparing the karambit and the kukri. Two knives made for fighting, but both of them were used in completely different ways. So, with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. So, thank you all very much for watching. This is Random Man, signing off.